Hello and welcome to our final exam review. We'll start off with the first question. It says estimate the answer by rounding each number to the nearest 10, then find the exact answer. Okay, so first we're going to round. So if we're rounding to the nearest 10, that's where the 6 is for the 69. We would peek over to the ones. It's a 9, so it's going to bump the 6 up to a 7. And then the rest becomes 0. 69 becomes 70. 42. Again, we're looking at the 4. We peek at the 2. It's a small number. 4 or less means we stay the same. So the 4 stays the same. So it becomes 40. So the estimated answer, when we subtract these two numbers, we would get 30. So estimated answer is 30. Exact answer would be, we subtract 9 minus 2, 6 minus 4, exact answer will be 27. Okay, number 2. Work the problem using order of operations. So order of operations is PEMDAS. So we're going to do parentheses first. We have parentheses here with the 4 and the minus 2. So we have 4 times the square root of 64 minus 6. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, so next we would do exponents. We don't have exponents. On that note though, we do have a square root. So square root you could rewrite as an exponent, but that's for later courses. Square root of 64 we could simplify. Right? Square root of 64 would be 8. So we have 4 times 8 minus 6 times 2. Okay, next we have multiplication. So we got two sets of multiplications. We have 4 times 8, which is 32, and then 6 times 2, which is 12. So notice we did the multiplication first, and then at the very end we will do, we don't have a division, we don't have an addition, we have a subtraction. So 32 minus 12 is 20. Find the prime factorization of 60. Write your answer with exponents when repeated factors appear. So remember, this was the factor tree. So 60 we could say in various ways. I'll start off by saying 6 times 10 is 60. 6 I could branch off and say it's 2 times 3. 2 is prime, 3 is prime. 10 is 2 times 5. 2 is prime and 5 is prime. So we got 2 2's, so that's 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, so that's going to give us 2 squared times 3 times 5. So the only one that's there will be choice A. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Find the sum and write it in lowest terms. So the first thing we want to do when we're adding, we have fractions. We want to get the common denominator. So the common denominator between 3 and 6 would be 6. Right? We could just double up the 2/3. Right? So 1 and 2/3 would become 1 and 4/6. Okay, so we got the 1 and 4/6 plus 5 and 1/6. So that ends up giving us 6. Add the whole numbers. 1 and 5 is 6. 4/6 plus 1/6 would be 5/6. Okay, so 6 and 5, 6 would be the final answer there. Number 5. Consumer bought a CD for $17.25 and paid with a $20 bill. How much change was there? Okay, so we're going to subtract 20 minus 17.25. Okay, so $20 minus 17.25, and that gives us $2.75. Okay, multiplication. Just remember to, when you're doing this on the calculator, to put in your decimals. 58.8 times 0.595. So we end up with 34.986. Convert 0.65 to a fraction in lowest terms. Okay, so remember we said the correct pronunciation of this would be 65 hundredths. So we would put 65 over 100. Okay, another way to think about it is the number of digits after the decimal point. That's how many zeros you'll see followed after the 1 for your denominator. So if there's 2 digits after the decimal, there'll be 2 zeros after the 1, so 100. If there were 3 digits after the decimal, there would be 1,000, 3 zeros after the 1. Okay, we could reduce this, divide by 5, both top and bottom. Again, they want you to simplify your answer. That's where a lot of people make a mistake. They forget to simplify or reduce the fraction to lowest terms. 65 divided by 5 would be 13. And 100 divided by 5 would be 20. So 13 over 20. Okay, let's take a look at number 8. Determine whether 9 is a solution of the equation. Is 9 a solution? Okay, so there's 2 ways to think about this. You can plug in a 9. So you're thinking, is x equal to 9? Let's see. Or you could solve the problem outright. So there's two trains of thought here. So if we plug in 9, 6 times 9 plus 2 times 9 minus 4, is that equal to 56? So everywhere there was an x, we plugged in 9. So 6 times 9 is 54, plus 9 minus 4 is 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. 54 plus 10. Well, 54 plus 10 is 64. So 64 is not equal to 56. So therefore this would be a no. Okay, for the other way, the other method, if you wanted to, you can solve the problem outright. So first thing you would do algebraically is distribute the 2 here. So you'd have 2x minus 8. Combine like terms, 6x and 2x would be 8x. Next we would add 8 to both sides. So 8x would equal 64. divided by 8. So 64 divided by 8 would be 8. So we see that the solution would actually be 8. Okay, so therefore 9 would not be a solution. Okay, number 9, simplify the expression and combine like terms. Okay, so we got two places where we're going to distribute. First, we'll distribute the -5, then we'll distribute the 2, and then we'll combine like terms. So -5 times 3y would be -15y. -5 times -6 is a +30. Next, 2 times 2y is 4y. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so we combine y's with y's, numbers with numbers. -15y plus 4y would be -11y. Plus 30 and a plus 12 would be plus 42. And that's it. That's all we would do here. There's no equal sign. We're not solving for y. It's just simplifying the expression and combining like terms. So this is it. Sharon needs 64 credits to graduate from a community college. So far, she has earned 24 credits. What percent of the required credits does she have? So she needs 64. That means 64 will be in the denominator. So far, she has earned 24, so that 24 will be the numerator. So we have 24 over 64. And they want to know she has earned what percent, right? What percent? So we could take 24 divided by 64. We get a decimal. So 24 divided by 64. It's always top divided by bottom. That equals 0.375. And then the decimal, to convert it to percent, we go 2 places to the right. So this will be 37.5%. Okay, stereo normally priced at $450 is on sale for 30% off. Find the discount and the sale price. Okay, so discount is the amount coming off of the original price. Okay, so what we want to do is figure out what's 450 times 0.30. We need to convert 30% to a decimal. 30% would be 0.30. So multiply 450 times 0.30. That's equal to 135. So that's your discount. That's the amount coming off of the normally priced stereo. Okay, and then the amount that you pay after that discount coming off, that's your sale price. So we have to subtract 450 minus 135, and that will give us the sale price. So 315 would be the sale price. Okay. Find the simple interest. Remember, simple interest formula was I equals P times R times T, where P is the principal, R is the rate as a decimal, and T is time in years. Okay, so we have a principal here of 300. Interest rate is 14%, make it a decimal, so 0.14. And the time is 1 year, so we multiply by 1. So 300 times 0.14 times 1, so $42. will be the interest. Okay, 13. Solve the equation. Okay, so in order to solve, first we have something on the left. We have to distribute the 2. Then we combine like terms. Let's see. So first step, distribute the 2. So we have 2 times 4t, which is, I'll write it over here, 2 times 4t, which is 8t. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, plus t equals 40 minus t. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we're going to combine like terms. We have an 8t and a plus t, so that's 9t minus 10 equals 40 minus t. Now we have t's on both sides. What I want to do is get the t's over to one side and the numbers to the other side. Okay, so I see the minus t here. I'm going to do plus t to both sides. The minus t and the plus t will cancel. 9t plus t would be 10t. So I have 10t minus 10 equals 40. Okay, and then I can add t, add 10 I should say. Add 10 to both sides. So I have 10t equals 40 plus 10, which is 50, divided by 10. So 10's cancel, 50 divided by 10, so t would equal 5. So remember when we did this section, don't say t equals 5, they're saying the solution set is. So you check on this one and then put just the number 5 inside the space there. Right, so don't put t equals, just put whatever t is equal to. Okay, complete the table for number 14. For the equation y equals x plus 2 and graph the equation. So they give us the x values, we plug them in, and then we get the y values. Okay, so we're going to be plugging in right in for x. So we have x is negative 2, so we're going to do negative 2 plus 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Next, we're going to do negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, so we could graph these points. Right, the points we're going to graph are negative 2, 0, negative 1, 1, 0, 2. Okay, so if we graph this, negative 2, 0 would be here, negative 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Now when you're using this on your devices, remember when you click on the tool to graph the line, you only need to graph 2 of these points. And as long as you did the math correctly, you should be graphing the same exact line. Okay, let's take a look at 15. Multiply, we got a FOIL scenario. 5x plus 3 times 3x minus 3. So we're going to FOIL 5x times 3x, which is 15x squared. 5x times negative 3, which is negative 15x. 3 times 3x, which is 9x. And 3 times negative 3, which is negative 9. Okay, combine like terms in the middle. So we end up with 15x squared. Negative 15 plus 9 is a negative 6x. And then minus 9. And that would be the answer. Okay, 16. Divide and check. Okay, so we want to divide. When we have this division by a monomial, what we want to do is take each term and divide it by the denominator. So 28x to the 8th divided by 4x minus 8x to the 6th divided by 4x plus 20x squared divided by 4x. Okay, so now divide or reduce the numbers for each fraction. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now, as you divide the x's, you're going to do a quotient rule. So remember that even though it's 4x, it's really 4x to the first. So to remind yourselves, just put a 1 there. And now just subtract the powers. Okay, so it would be x to the 8 minus 1. Now 8 divided by 4 is 2. X to the 6 minus 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. Plus 20 divided by 4 is 5. X to the 2 minus 1, which is 1. And if you don't want to write the 1, you don't have to. Okay, so this will be the final answer. Alright, number 17, factor. Okay, so we're factoring a trinomial. So the idea behind this is it's just a squared, so we want to be able to split this up. The only way we get a squared is if we do, set up your two parentheses, you'll have a times a. The a's will be in the beginning of both parentheses. And now you're looking for two numbers. Right, they're going to fill in these two spots here. The two numbers will multiply to negative 40. So multiply to negative 40. And then at the same time, you want them to add to negative 3. Okay, so that's what that means, that the negative 40 is here, the negative 3 is over here. So you're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 40 and add to negative 3. So write out the factors of negative 40. You could start off by doing 1 and 40. Now 1 and 40 is 40. You want negative 40. Now to get negative, one of them has to be a positive, one of them has to be a negative. Negative 1 times 40, or you could have the other way, 1 and negative 40. Another way to get 40 would be 2 and 20. So that would be negative 2 and positive 20, or 2 and negative 20. 3 would not work. 4 and 10. So you could have negative 4, positive 10, positive 4, negative 10. And then 5 and 8, we could have 5 and negative 5 and positive 8. or we could have 5 and -8. Okay, so which of these adds up to -3? It will be this last one. 5 is positive, so we would put down a +5. 8 is negative, so we would put a -8. So it would be choice A, and we would put these the way it is. Okay, let's take a look at the last one. Factor the trinomial. Okay, so for 18, we want to be able to factor this. This one has a double variable, so the way that we would set this up, set up your two parentheses. Notice how the t squared is in the beginning. The only way we get the t squared is if we put t and a t in the beginning of the parentheses. Notice how the x squared is at the end. So that means at the end of each parentheses, you'll have an x and an x. And now we can focus on the numbers, right? Notice where the -12 is. That means we have to multiply to get -12. And then the -4 in the middle means we have to add to get -4. Okay, so come up with the factors of -12. So -1 and 12, 1 and -12, -2 and 6, 2 and -6, -3 and 4, 3 and -4. And I think that's it. So which of these gives you -4? So when we add them up, so when we add 2 and -6, that gives us -4. Okay, so it's a +2. So I'll put a +2. And it's a -6, so put a -6. And this will be the final answer. Okay, and that would be the last question. So if you guys have any questions, any problems, just write me an email. And we'll see you guys on next class. Okay, have a good day, have a good night, stay safe.